Hello, it's Anya from Anya Marta Art. Welcome. Today I wanted to show you how I create pattern moving from Photoshop to Illustrator. And the way I chose this method is because it gives me the most organic way of sketching in Photoshop and then tweaking slightly in Illustrator using the most of vector type, because we want everything vectorized so it can be infinitely scaled and also easily color changed. So I'll show you how I do that. We're going to start with a new document in Photoshop, File, New, and here we're going to choose 1000 pixels by 1000 pixels, resolution 300, and we're going to work in CMYK and create. With this one, it's very easy to do a pattern. So you're going to go to View, Pattern Preview. I absolutely love this method. And because we're not going to move things around, I'm not going to change that into Smart Object. So just plus here for New Layer. I'm going to choose one of my pencils just to sketch things for the first initial initial sketch basically. And I love this method because you can really see organically what you're doing and how the pattern is going to look. So let's just create something very simple, starting with this twig shape. And the beauty is that you can go over that border here and it just carries on. So I can, let's say, join those two together and it gives me much better view. You can scroll it with your mouse wheel to see bigger picture. It's like a live view of the pattern, which I find really organic and natural when you create that. And just like that, you have very simple shapes here already, and you can add on. And bear in mind, this is just our sketch. So after I've done this, when I'm happy with this, I would decrease opacity for this layer and create new layer, which is going to be my proper pattern. So let's just decrease opacity a little bit more. And on the top layer, our proper layer. And if you're really good, please name those layers. I never do. And you just create shapes. And for purpose of this tutorial, I'm just going to do very, very simple. Nothing too fancy. But that's very much close to my style anyway. I like the sketchy feel. I don't like anything too laborious or overdone. And we can add a few, few leaves here and there. And if I just scroll out, I can have a better picture. Here is a bit of an empty space. Oh yeah, because we haven't filled that one yet. So there are many methods to do that one. You can do it with traditional paper and see-through paper, or you can do it straight into Illustrator, which is nice and easy. But because I like the brushwork and Photoshop, I tend to keep it that way. And at this stage, what you can do, if you want to keep colors, you could do like a mock-up color here. So open another layer, put it underneath. And this is where you can do just the swatches of colors. So let me show you what I mean. If I choose any color here, it's easy to recolor in Illustrator later. So as long as you keep them separate, that's fine. That one here, that one here. Just to map them out and see how they're going to play on this artboard. Within your design. Also, you can establish different background color if you like. I just want to keep it very simple here so you can see the principle. Okay, and this is what you could do here. You can just take a snapshot of your screen so you have a roughly idea where you want those colors to be. I will not be adding colors at this point. Okay, so this is our pattern pretty much done. Let's delete that sketch layer, and we can even flatten that. We don't have to. I prefer to do that. Okay, and at this point you go to View and Pattern Preview, you just switch it off. And this is our tile that we're going to move into Illustrator. So let's save it as JPEG. Now we have the Illustrator open. We're going to create new document, which is going to be exactly the same size, so 1000 pixel by 1000 pixels. And we don't need any bleed at all. CMYK 300 and create. Here we're going to go to File, Place, find the image on your computer where you saved it, and now we're just going to place it exactly into the artboard and embed. Now just double check the size of this file, if it's definitely 1000 by 1000 here on top, perfect, and just make sure it's in the right position. So we need to vectorize this drawing. We're going to do image trace. So you have to find image trace. You can tick preview so we see what's happening, and this is not enough information. You can always play with different different options. I quite like black and white logo option, and I'm gonna bring the threshold really high up, so that way it will maintain lots of detail. Advanced, I'm gonna add on paths, and I'm gonna decrease the noise, and that way I'm going to get that line work pretty much recreated what I intended in Photoshop. Let's bring the threshold up. If you go too high, the whole thing will turn black. Just bear in mind. If I go all the way up, you see it just takes the whole page. So I'm happy with that. There are a few little bits, but I don't mind because I like that sketchy style anyway. Make sure you tick Ignore White and tick Preview and Ready to Trace. Now go to Object, Expand. Don't tick Fill, just Object, okay. Object, Expand one more time. And now everything kind of groups it twice, so we have to ungroup it all. Let me just put that back in place where it should be, and at this point, right click, you have to be really careful not to tweak anything. Ungroup. And one more time, ungroup. And this is important step because see, when you do it one more time, it gives you option of group. So you've done enough of ungrouping, that's great. And at this point, we're going to move into our pattern tool. And this is an important step. Let me just tell you, when it does expand and when it image trace, it creates sometimes close to the edge funny little shapes that are not good for our repeated pattern. Select the whole thing, Object, Pattern, Make. Okay, and this is giving you the view what it's going to be like for the whole pattern, and that looks good. We have a little bit issues here, and let me show you what I mean. Can you see this not joining properly? And you have to be careful because it only allows you move things on the right and on the bottom, so you're going to have to find it here on the left and adjust that bit. So I'm using my direct selection tool, and now just clicking on the anchor point and moving it. It seems like a tedious job, but we haven't got on this edges that many to fix, so it can be quite meditative actually. So you just click on, you know, for the whole process, oops, I went too far. For the whole process, arranging that in Photoshop nicely, you can do really complex patterns with that light view. it's so much, oops, it's so much better. So we have to just fix the problematic areas with the direct selection tool and moving those anchor points so everything joins nicely. This is the step that is probably the most problematic, and I highly recommend having a triple check on this one. Also, try not to move the whole element here, just your anchor point. I'm just double clicking on it and moving it so it fits. Okay. So I'm going to have a really quick round looking again, because sometimes you can just move the whole little element rather than the anchor point. For example, I don't like this little piece here. I've seen it when I was scanning up here on the top, and I wasn't able to remove it because it's on the top bit. You can only remove things on the right and bottom bit. So simply just take it away from this mirroring area. There you go, and delete. And that should disappear from here as well, which it has. Okay, at this point we're going to save copy. Okay, and it's been added to your swatch panel, and done. So I'm just going to delete that for now, and we'll pull out the one we just did. Control G will group this for us, and I'm going to place it into artboard. Now it's time to test if the pattern is working correctly. 1000 by 1000 square in color, and we're going to align into artboard and send it all the way to the back. Arrange, send to back. Now we need to select that square and copy that. So Control C and Control V will paste it to the back, and then I go to my layers. I will select the very one on the bottom, the color square, and I'm going to remove the fill. And this is our cookie cutter for this pattern. So everything within that invisible square is going to be turned into pattern. We're going to select everything now and drag it into swatch panel. Let's bring the bigger rectangle, fill with that new pattern, and nicely, hopefully no mistakes. You can see that phantom line here, and this is often causing designers problem. If you scale it in and it doesn't change size, it stays like a hair thin. That means it's not going to cause you a problem. The other thing you can do also is extend your color square, just in case, just by 2 millimeters. So let's select that color square again, rectangle, and we're going to change its size to 1002 pixels, sorry, not milliliters, millimeters, 1002. And this should extend just a little bit over that line. Let's test it out now. So we're going to select everything, drag it into our swatch panel. Now select that rectangle and fill. Again, you can still see that hairline, but it's not going to be any effect when you export that pattern. It's just the way it is. It's just the way the Illustrator handles the preview. So don't worry about it too much. As long as you got your color square extended a little bit, you should be fine. And this is our pattern done. So I hope this is useful. The other thing you can do, you can fill it with color, and you can also do it in a pattern preview, which I'm planning to do. So nice and easy. And just double check that everything aligns nicely and everything is, there's no mistakes. This is my kind of walk around, planning the pattern easily in an organic way in Photoshop, and then taking it to Illustrator, making everything works. There is a little tweaking required, but it is the workflow I prefer. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know if you have any questions at all. Until next time, bye.